No one could handle that bull until a little girl with a flower. Robert Anderson watched in despair as yet another vet ran out of the pen with his shirt torn. The bull Thunder had attacked again, and now no professionals in the area wanted to go near the property. That's when his 4-year-old granddaughter Emma appeared at the farm gate, holding a small daisy she had picked from the garden. The man's heart raced as he saw the little girl walking straight toward the pen, where the most dangerous animal in the entire region stood. "Emma, stop right there!" Robert shouted, but the girl didn't listen. "Grandpa, the bull is sad," she said, still walking. The rancher ran after his granddaughter, but froze when he saw something he never thought possible. Thunder, who hadn't let anyone near him for 3 months, lowered his massive head and gently sniffed the flower Emma held out to him. "I can't believe my eyes," Robert murmured. The girl stroked the bull's horns as if he were a puppy, and the animal remained completely calm. But the peace didn't last long. Sarah, Emma's mother, arrived just then and nearly fainted when she saw her daughter next to the beast. "What in the world is this, Dad?" Sarah yelled, rushing to scoop Emma into her arms. The moment Sarah got close, Thunder snorted and pawed the ground, making everyone step back. Only with Emma did he stay gentle. "Mommy, he's not bad," Emma said, trying to go back to the animal. "You are absolutely forbidden to go near that creature," Sarah declared, holding her daughter tightly. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Robert watched the argument unfold between mother and daughter, and his heart grew heavier. The farm was facing the worst crisis of his life. Thunder was the most valuable breeding bull in all of Texas, but ever since Grandma Betty had passed 3 months ago, the animal had become impossible to handle. Grandma Betty had been Robert's mother, an 85-year-old woman who had raised Thunder from the time he was just an orphaned calf. She was the only one who could manage the animal's fiery temper, singing old songs while she fed him and tended to his wounds. When she was gone, Thunder fell into deep sorrow. He stopped eating properly, wouldn't let other bulls near the cows, and attacked anyone who tried to approach him. The farm, which relied on controlled breeding to survive, was on the brink of ruin. "Dad, that animal is too dangerous to keep here," Sarah said, still holding Emma. "What if he hurts someone? What if he hurts my daughter?" "Sarah, you don't understand," Robert replied. "Without Thunder, we'll lose everything. He's worth more than this whole property combined. I don't care how much he's worth. My daughter is not going to be at risk." Emma listened to the argument in silence, but tears began to roll down her cheeks. She didn't understand why the adults were fighting. She only knew the big, strong animal seemed as lonely as she sometimes felt. The recent widow still carried the scars of losing her husband a year earlier. Daniel, Emma's father, had been killed in an accident on the very farm while trying to tame a wild horse. Since then, Sarah had developed a deep fear of large animals and an overprotective streak when it came to her daughter. "Grandpa, can I feed him?" Emma asked, pointing at Thunder. "Absolutely not," Sarah snapped before Robert could answer. "But he's hungry, Mummy. Look how skinny he is." Robert looked at the bull and realized the girl was right. Thunder had lost a lot of weight in recent weeks. The animal refused to eat when other workers tried to feed it, and this was becoming a serious problem. "Sarah, maybe if Emma stays outside the corral," Robert Anderson began. "No way, have you completely lost your mind?" That night, after Sarah and Emma went to sleep, Robert stayed on the porch thinking of solutions. The bank had already sent 3 overdue payment notices, and the farm's expenses kept rising while income had plummeted. Without being able to use Thunder for breeding, he'd have to sell the animal, but no buyer would want an aggressive, hard-to-handle bull. The next morning, Emma slipped away from her mother's watch and went straight to the corral. Robert found her sitting on the ground by the fence, telling a story to Thunder, who listened attentively from the other side of the wooden planks. "Once upon a time there was a princess who had a magical horse," Emma was saying, "but the horse got very sad when the queen went to heaven." Thunder was lying close to the fence, a position Robert had never seen the animal take when people were around. It almost seemed like he was really listening to the story. "Emma, what are you doing here?" Robert asked, trying not to startle the bull. "I'm telling him a story, Grandpa. Grandma Betty always told me stories when I was sad." The rancher's heart tightened. Emma was right. Grandma Betty had always told stories to her great-granddaughter, especially when the girl missed her father. The two had developed a very strong bond over the years. What's the story about? About a princess who teaches the horse not to be afraid of people, Emma replied, just like Thunder. At that moment, Dr. Thompson, the most experienced vet in the area, arrived for another attempt. Robert had begged him to come again, offering to pay double the usual fee. "Robert, I already told you I won't risk dealing with this animal anymore," Dr. Thompson said. "He nearly trampled me last time. Doctor, please, if we can't treat his leg wound, I might lose the bull." "What wound? You didn't tell me about any wound." Emma noticed he's limping a little on his left hind leg. "It might be an infection." Dr. Thompson looked at the girl, still sitting by the fence. "She noticed that?" "She spends more time watching him than any of us." The vet cautiously approached the fence. Thunder immediately stood up and began snorting, but Emma slipped her small hand between the wooden planks. "Easy, Thunder. The doctor's going to help your leg," she said softly. To everyone's surprise, the bull calmed down. Not completely, but enough for Dr. Thompson to observe him from a distance. "She's right," the vet murmured. "He's favoring his left leg. It could be an infection." "Can you examine him?" "Only if the girl stays, and even then I can't promise anything." Just then Sarah appeared, looking for her daughter. "Emma, how many times do I have to tell you not to come here?" "Mom, Thunder's sick," Emma said. "He needs medicine." "I don't care. You're coming with me right now." "Sarah, wait," Robert interrupted. "Dr. Thompson thinks he can examine Thunder if Emma's here." "Have you all lost your minds? My daughter is not bait for that animal." "She's not bait, ma'am," Dr. Thompson said respectfully. "It's just that the animal has formed a bond with her. If she's present, I might be able to administer a mild sedative and do the exam." "And if it goes wrong? What if he attacks my daughter?" "I'll stay outside the corral with a tranquilizer rifle," Robert assured. "At the first sign of danger, we take the animal down." Sarah looked at her daughter, who stared back with pleading eyes. She knew Emma had inherited her great-grandmother's sensitivity for handling animals, but the fear of losing her daughter the same way she had lost her husband paralyzed her. "Please, Mom," Emma pleaded. "He's suffering." After a long discussion, Sarah agreed, but with several conditions. Robert Anderson would stand ready with the rifle, Dr. Thompson would have all emergency equipment prepared, and at the slightest sign of aggression, everyone would back away immediately. The exam was tense but revealed something important. Thunder had a serious infection in his hoof, caused by a thorn deeply embedded between his claws. The infection was causing constant pain, which explained much of his recent aggression. "I'll need to make a small incision to remove the thorn and then apply antibiotics," Dr. Thompson explained. "But it'll be impossible to do while he's awake and agitated." "How long for recovery?" Robert asked. "If we treat it now, 2 weeks. If we wait, we might have to put him down." The words hit Robert like a punch. Losing Thunder wouldn't just mean the farm's bankruptcy, it would also mean losing the last legacy of his mother. That afternoon, an expensive car pulled up to the farm's entrance. A well-dressed man stepped out and introduced himself as Richard Miller, a prominent cattle rancher from California. "I heard you have a champion bull for sale," Richard said. "Thunder isn't for sale," Robert replied quickly. "I'll pay $200,000 in cash." The amount made Robert swallow hard. It was more money than he'd ever seen in his life, enough to settle all the farm's debts and still have some left for investments. "The animal has some temperament issues," Robert felt compelled to confess. "I know how to handle difficult animals. I have a specialized breaking-in team." When Emma heard about the offer, she panicked. She ran to the corral and clung to the fence, crying, "You can't sell Thunder, Grandpa. He'll be sad away from here." "Emma, sometimes we have to make hard choices," Robert said, heartbroken. "But he's getting better. He ate the feed I brought today." It was true. For the first time in weeks, Thunder had eaten properly, but only when Emma was present. The girl had developed a routine of visiting him 3 times a day, always bringing small gifts: a flower, a piece of bread, or simply her company. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, Don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. Sarah watched her daughter's suffering with a divided heart. On one hand, she wanted to protect her from any danger. On the other, she saw how the bond with Thunder was bringing joy to Emma, who had been so quiet and sad since her father's passing. Maybe it really is better to sell the animal, Sarah said to Robert privately. Emma's too young to understand, but she'll forget with time. I'm not sure she will, Robert replied. You've seen how they've connected. It's almost like your mother-in-law and Thunder. My mother-in-law was an adult, Dad. Emma's just a child. But your mother-in-law always said children have a special bond with animals because they don't have fear in their hearts. That night, Robert had terrible insomnia. He found Emma asleep on the living room couch, hugging a photo of her great-grandmother. The girl had asked to sleep there to be closer to the corral where Thunder was. The next morning, something unexpected happened. During a heavy storm, lightning struck the tree beside the corral, knocking it onto part of the fence. Thunder broke through the rest and ran free for the first time in months. Robert Anderson and the workers went out searching for the animal, fearing it might run away forever or attack someone. But they came upon a surprising scene. Thunder stood still beside the house, shielding Emma from the rain with his own body. The little girl had gone out to play in the backyard and got caught in the storm. Thunder protected me, Grandpa, Emma said when Robert arrived. He's my friend. Sarah, who had come running after her daughter, stopped at the sight. The enormous feared bull stood there, calm and protective, guarding her daughter like a guardian angel. I can't believe it, she murmured. Mom, did you see? Thunder protected me from the rain. For a moment, Sarah forgot all her fears. The scene reminded her of her own childhood, playing carefree on her grandparents' ranch before life taught her to be afraid. Richard Miller, the buyer from California, arrived just then to collect Thunder. He had brought a team of ranch hands and a special truck for transporting large animals. We'll need to use tranquilizers, one of the ranch hands said upon seeing Thunder loose. Don't hurt him, Emma shouted. Easy there, little one, Richard said. We're just taking him to a better place. But this is his home. Great-grandma said this has always been Thunder's home. Robert felt a pang in his chest. His mother had indeed said that. Grandma Betty always claimed Thunder was born on the ranch to stay on the ranch, as if he were part of the family. When the ranch hands approached with ropes and equipment, Thunder grew agitated again, but Emma stepped between them and the bull. I won't let you take him away, the girl declared with surprising determination for her age. Emma, step away, Sarah urged nervously. No, Thunder is part of our family. Richard sighed impatiently. Look, Robert, I have other commitments today. Let's wrap this up. Emma, come here, Robert called. Let the men do their job. But when Emma moved away, Thunder became aggressive again. He snorted and threatened to charge anyone who came near. The situation was growing dangerous. This animal is too much trouble, Richard said. I'll have to lower my offer to $150,000. But we already agreed on $200,000, Robert protested. That was before I saw how aggressive he is. He'll take a lot of work to train. Emma overheard the conversation, and something stirred in her, a courage she didn't know she had. Grandpa, let me try something, she said. Before anyone could stop her, Emma entered the ruined pen and approached Thunder. She began singing an old nursery rhyme she'd learned from her great-grandmother. Bull, bull, big black bull, take this girl who's scared of a face so dull. To everyone's astonishment, Thunder calmed instantly. He lowered his head and let Emma touch his muzzle. Then the girl did something no one expected. She placed a makeshift little rope around the bull's neck and began leading him. Emma, what are you doing? Sarah cried. I'm showing you Thunder is gentle, the girl replied. She guided the bull back to the pen as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Thunder followed her meekly without resistance. The ranch hands stood dumbfounded. Richard, too, couldn't believe his eyes. How did she do that? One of the men asked. She has the gift, Robert said, moved. Just like my mother did. Richard approached Robert with a thoughtful expression. You know what? I've changed my mind about buying the bull. What do you mean? An animal with this kind of special bond shouldn't be separated from the person who has the gift to handle him. It'd be cruel and counterproductive. Robert felt both relief and despair. Relief at not having to sell Thunder, and despair at still lacking the money to save the ranch. "But I have a different proposal," continued Richard. "How about if I fund a project right here, a partnership?" "What kind of partnership?" "Your granddaughter has a natural talent that shouldn't be wasted. I could invest in the ranch to create a special training center where children with this gift can develop their skills with animals." The proposal was unexpected and intriguing. Richard explained that he had met many breeders who paid fortunes to find people capable of handling difficult animals. A specialized training center could be very profitable. "But Emma is too young," said Sarah, concerned. "Of course. This would be a long-term project. For now, she'd just keep doing what comes naturally to her, under proper supervision." That night, the family gathered to discuss the offer. Robert saw an opportunity to save the ranch without losing Thunder. Sarah still had worries about her daughter's safety. Emma just wanted no one to take her friend away. "Mum, Thunder needs me," said Emma, "just like I need him." "But it's dangerous, sweetheart. Dad always said life is dangerous, but we can't stop living because of fear." The girl's words struck Sarah deeply. Daniel really used to say that, especially when she worried too much about something. Dr. Thompson, who had been following the situation, gave his medical opinion. "The girl truly has a special ability," he said, "and the animal is visibly healthier since she started caring for him. The hoof wound is healing well and he's eating normally again." "But what about the risks?" Sarah insisted. "All work with animals carries risks, but with proper supervision and safety protocols, they can be minimized." While the adults talked, Emma slipped away to see Thunder one more time. She found him lying in the repaired pen, looking sad. "You're afraid I'll leave, aren't you?" she asked, stroking his muzzle through the fence. Thunder snorted softly, as if answering. "I get scared too sometimes. I'm scared Mum will take me away from here. I'm scared I'll forget about Grandma Betty. I'm scared I'll forget Dad." The girl began to cry and Thunder moved closer to the fence as if to comfort her. "But you know what Grandma Betty always said? Fear only goes away when we find something stronger than it. And do you know what's stronger than fear?" Thunder watched her intently. "Love. Grandma said love is stronger than anything." At that moment, Sarah appeared, looking for her daughter, and overheard the conversation. She hid behind a tree, moved by Emma's maturity. "Mum's afraid of losing me like she lost Dad," Emma continued, talking to Thunder, "but I'm not going anywhere. I'll grow up here, with you, with Grandpa, with Mum, and we'll be a family." Sarah couldn't hide any longer. She approached her daughter with tears in her eyes. "Emma, how did you get so wise?" "Grandma Betty taught me. She said angels send messages through animals. That's why Thunder was waiting for me to grow up and be his friend." Sarah hugged her daughter, and for the first time since Thunder arrived, felt no fear. She hesitantly reached out and lightly touched the bull's muzzle. To her surprise, he allowed it. "He really is gentle," she murmured. "He was just sad, Mum, like we get sometimes." The next morning, Sarah made a decision that surprised everyone. "I agree to the partnership," she told Richard, "but with some conditions." "What conditions?" "Emma only works with animals when I'm present. She'll have a specialized tutor to develop her skills safely, and her formal education can't be neglected." Richard agreed to all the conditions. He was genuinely impressed by the potential he had seen and knew a well-made investment there could yield great returns in the future. The project started simply. Richard brought 2 older, calmer animals for Emma to train her skills. Dr. Thompson volunteered to oversee the veterinary aspect of the project. Robert would handle the administrative side of the ranch. Sarah, to her own surprise, discovered an interest in learning about animal behavior. She began reading books and taking online courses to better understand her daughter's work. "Mom, you're becoming an expert," Emma said proudly. "I'm learning not to be afraid of things I don't understand," Sarah replied. 3 months later, the ranch was unrecognizable. The partnership's money had allowed for renovations to the pens, the creation of safe training areas, and the hiring of specialized staff. Emma had developed her skills impressively. She could calm nervous horses, get dairy cows to cooperate during milking, and even handle animals rescued from abuse. But success brought new challenges. A local TV feature about Emma and Thunder went viral on social media. Suddenly, the ranch began receiving curious visitors from all over the country. "This is getting out of control," Sarah said, worried about her daughter's exposure. "Maybe we can use this to our advantage," Robert suggested. "How about organizing educational visits?" The idea of educational rural tourism was embraced by the whole family. They created a program where children and families could visit the ranch to learn about animal care and develop healthy connections with nature. Emma became a little ambassador for the cause, teaching other kids that animals aren't stuffed toys, but living beings who deserve respect and care. Thunder, in turn, became the ranch's main attraction. Under Emma's care, he had not only grown gentle, but genuinely affectionate with children. Always supervised and with all safety measures in place, he allowed visiting children to touch and even feed him. "It's like he knows he has a special role to fulfill," Dr. Thompson observed. "Grandma always said every animal has a purpose in life," Robert said. "Maybe Thunder's purpose is to teach kids not to be afraid." A year after the project began, the ranch received a visit from a team of researchers from the University of Texas. They were studying the connection between children and animals for therapeutic purposes. "What you've achieved here is extraordinary," said Dr. Jennifer Adams, the research coordinator. "Emma has skills far beyond what's normal for her age." "She's always been special," Sarah said proudly. "We'd like to propose a collaboration. Our university has an animal-assisted therapy program. We could develop a specific protocol based on the method Emma uses." The proposal opened a new dimension for the project. The ranch would become not just a training center, but also a site for scientific research on human-animal connections. Emma, now 5 years old, had grown into her responsibilities, but remained a normal child who loved to play and watch cartoons. The difference was that she also had a special mission that made her feel important and useful. "Grandpa, I think I know what my superpower is," she said one day. "What is it, sweetheart?" "I can hear what animals are feeling, and when they feel understood, they get happy," Robert smiled, remembering his mother's words. "Grandma Betty always said that some people were born with the gift of understanding animals, and that this gift came with the responsibility to care for and protect them." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. The partnership with the university brought even more visitors to the ranch. Veterinary students, child psychologists, occupational therapists, and animal behavior researchers began visiting regularly. Sarah had completely transformed. The woman who once feared large animals now coordinated assisted therapy programs. She had discovered that her own cure for fear lay in understanding and accepting what once haunted her. "Sometimes I wonder what Daniel would think of all this," she said to Robert Anderson one quiet afternoon. "He'd be proud," replied her father-in-law. "Both of you have become so much stronger. Emma taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing even when you're afraid." The ranch had become a model for similar projects. Delegations from other states came to see the work being done there. Richard Miller, the initial investor, was more than satisfied with the project's financial and social results. But the greatest success of all was seeing Emma growing up happy and secure, surrounded by love and with a clear purpose in life. She had found her calling early and was developing skills that would make a difference in the lives of many people and animals. Thunder remained Emma's special companion, though he now shared his attention with other animals arriving at the training center. He had become a sort of mentor to other traumatized animals, showing them it was possible to trust humans again. "It's amazing how he's changed," Dr. Thompson remarked during one of his regular visits. "From an aggressive, traumatized animal to a four-legged therapist. People can change too when they find love and purpose," Emma said with the wisdom of someone who had witnessed profound transformations in her own family. The girl had learned to read not just animal behavior, but also people's emotions. She could tell when someone was sad, scared, or in need of affection, and she always found a way to help. During the summer, the ranch hosted its first camp for special needs children, boys and girls facing different challenges, extreme shyness, grief, various traumas, or simply difficulty socializing. Emma naturally became the group's leader, teaching the other children how to approach animals without fear and with respect. She had developed her own method, based on patience, observation, and genuine love. First, you need to breathe slowly and calm down, she instructed a group of nervous children. Animals can sense when we're nervous. What if he doesn't like me? Asked a shy little girl. All animals love affection and attention. Just show them you're a friend, like when you want to make friends with a new kid at school. Emma's method was simple but effective. She taught the children to first observe the animal's behavior, then approach slowly, offering something the animal liked: a carrot for horses, fresh grass for cows, a flower for Thunder, and finally establishing gradual physical contact. The results were remarkable. Children who arrived closed off and fearful left the camp confident and smiling. Parents were moved by the transformations they witnessed. "My daughter hadn't spoken to strangers in 2 years," one mother said tearfully. "Today she told me she wants to be a vet just like Emma." "The program really works," confirmed one father. "My son had childhood depression after we lost his grandmother." Here he started smiling again. The camp's success led to the creation of a permanent animal-assisted therapy program. The farm began welcoming not just children, but also seniors, people with disabilities, and individuals in rehabilitation. Emma, now 6 years old, had become a recognized little expert. She gave talks at schools, attended veterinary conferences, always accompanied by her mother, and was even invited to a national television show. "All of this is wonderful, but I don't want her to lose her childhood," Sarah said to Robert Anderson. "She's having fun, Sarah, and she's doing good. Isn't that what every parent wants for their child?" "That's true. I just worry sometimes if we're putting too much responsibility on such a young girl. Emma is special, but she still plays with dolls, watches cartoons, and throws tantrums when she doesn't want to take a bath," Robert reminded her, smiling. "She hasn't lost anything of her childhood." It was true. Despite all the fame and responsibility, Emma remained a normal child most of the time. She had friends at school, loved playing at the park, and still needed her mother to brush her teeth before bed. The difference was that she also had a passion and a special talent that made her happy and fulfilled in a way few children experienced. On the project's second anniversary, the farm hosted a big celebration. Visitors came from all over the country: researchers, other farmers interested in replicating the model, families who had participated in the therapy programs, and many children who had formed special bonds with the animals. Emma gave a simple but moving speech. "When I met Thunder, he was sad just like I was. We helped each other be happy again. Now I know this is my mission, to help people and animals become friends and support each other." The audience rose to their feet in applause. Thunder, standing beside Emma on the makeshift stage, let out a soft snort, as if he were clapping too. During the celebration, Robert received an unexpected offer. A group of investors wanted to buy the farm to turn it into a national franchise. "We're offering $5 million, said the group's representative. "You'd stay on as managers, but we could replicate the model in cities across the country." It was an astronomically higher sum than anything Robert had ever imagined. Enough to secure Emma's and the whole family's future. "I need to talk to my family," he replied. That night they gathered to discuss the offer. The amount was tempting, but they all worried about losing control of the project they had built with so much care. "What if they change everything?" Sarah asked. "What if they don't take proper care of the animals?" Emma worried. "What if they turn it into something purely commercial, without the heart?" Robert added. They decided to sleep on it. The next morning, Emma woke up early and went to see Thunder as she did every day. She found the bull more restless than usual. "What's wrong, buddy?" she asked. Thunder led her to a corner of the pasture where a cow was struggling to give birth. It was Star, one of the farm's oldest cows, having a difficult delivery. "Grandpa!" Emma shouted. "Star needs help!" Robert and Dr. Thompson rushed to assist. The birth was complicated. But with Emma there to calm Star, they managed to perform the necessary procedure. A healthy, strong calf was born. Thunder knew she needed help, Emma said, emotional. He brought me here. Animals really do communicate with each other, Dr. Thompson confirmed. And Thunder trusts you to solve the problems. That episode made the family reflect on the true value of what they had built. It wasn't just a business. It was a community where animals and people took care of each other. You know what? Emma said that afternoon. I don't want other people telling us what to do with our ranch. This is our home. But we could help so many more children if we accepted the offer, Sarah reasoned. We can help in our own way, teaching others to do the same. We don't need to sell our home for that. The wisdom of the 6-year-old girl impressed the adults. She had summed up in just a few words what they were all feeling. Robert Anderson turned down the investor's offer, but proposed an alternative. They could license the methodology developed on the ranch and train people interested in creating similar projects in other regions. The solution pleased everyone. The ranch would remain the family's, but its influence would spread across the country through educational partnerships. In the following months, the ranch became a training center for professionals interested in animal-assisted therapy. Veterinarians, psychologists, educators, and therapists came for intensive courses to learn the Emma Thunder methodology, as it had been named. Emma actively participated in the trainings, demonstrating techniques and sharing her experiences. She had developed a natural teaching ability that amazed the adults. How do you know if an animal is scared? A veterinarian asked during a session. It's easy, Emma replied. They do the same as us. They get tense, breathe faster, and their eyes widen. Then you just speak softly and show them you won't hurt them. And if they're still scared, then you wait. You can't rush. The fear goes away when they see you're patient. The courses were always packed. The methodology had proven effective not just with children, but with people of all ages who needed emotional support. One day, a very special family arrived at the ranch. They were the parents of an 8-year-old boy named Tyler, who had developed selective mutism after witnessing an accident. He hadn't spoken to anyone in over a year. The doctors said he needs something to motivate him to speak again. His mother, Melissa, explained. We saw the news story about Emma on TV and thought maybe the animals could help. Tyler was a shy, reserved boy who communicated only through gestures and drawings. Emma was immediately interested in helping him. I'll introduce him to Thunder, she said. They'll be friends. Tyler's first meeting with Thunder was carefully supervised. The boy approached hesitantly, but his eyes lit up when he saw the giant bull lower its head to greet him. Emma taught Tyler how to feed Thundergrass and stroke his muzzle. Gradually, the boy relaxed and even smiled. On the third day of his visit, something magical happened. Tyler was in the pasture with Thunder when the bull lay down beside him. The boy leaned against the animal and for the first time in over a year, whispered a few words. Good bull, he said softly. Emma heard and ran to tell Tyler's parents. Melissa cried with emotion when she learned her son had spoken again. How did you do this? She asked. We didn't do anything special, Sarah replied. Animals have a way of healing that we humans sometimes don't understand. Tyler started visiting the ranch regularly. Little by little, he spoke more. First only to the animals, then to Emma, and finally to others. Animals don't judge us, Emma explained to Tyler's mother. They don't care if you talk a little or a lot. They just want love. The case of Tyler became one of the most documented by the university researchers. He demonstrated how animal-assisted therapy could help in cases considered difficult by traditional medicine. Emma, now 7 years old, had become a minor celebrity in the scientific community. She received invitations to attend international conferences, but her family was careful not to expose her excessively. She can participate in some things, but the priority is her upbringing as a child, Sarah decided. I agree, said Robert Anderson. Her gift needs to be nurtured, but with balance. The farm had become financially self-sustaining. The training courses, therapeutic visits, and research partnerships generated enough income to maintain the project and even invest in constant improvements. Thunder, now over 10 years old, remained the farm's main animal. He had become a veteran in therapeutic work, capable of identifying people who needed special attention. It's like he's turned into a four-legged psychologist, joked Dr. Thompson. He learned from me, Emma said proudly, but I also learned from him. The connection between Emma and Thunder had deepened over time. They developed an almost telepathic communication where she could understand the animal's needs and feelings just by observing his behavior. One Sunday afternoon, as the family relaxed on the porch, Emma made an observation that moved everyone. "You know, Grandpa, I think I understand why Great-Grandma left when Thunder and I first met." "Why, my dear?" "Because she knew I would take care of him, and that he would teach me important things. Great-Grandma always cared for the animals alone, but now she has helpers." Robert felt his eyes well up. His mother had truly planned everything, even without consciously knowing it. She had raised Thunder to be Emma's companion and teacher. "I think you're right," he said. "Your great-grandmother was always very wise. She's still here, isn't she?" Emma asked. "Every time I care for the animals, I feel like she's proud." Sarah hugged her daughter, moved by the girl's maturity and sensitivity. Emma had found a way to keep her great-grandmother's memory alive through the work she did. That evening, the three generations of the family, Robert, Sarah, and Emma, sat in the pasture to watch the sunset. Thunder was nearby, grazing peacefully, surrounded by the other farm animals. The scene symbolized everything they had achieved: peace, harmony, purpose, and above all, love. The bull, once considered dangerous and untamable, was now the heart of a project that had already transformed hundreds of lives. "Mom, are you still afraid of Thunder?" Emma asked. "No, sweetheart. Now I'm just grateful for him," Sarah replied. "He taught us that love really is stronger than fear." "And you, Grandpa, are you happy?" "I'm very happy, Emma. Your great-grandmother would be proud to see what you've built together." Emma smiled and ran to hug Thunder one last time before going inside for dinner. The bull welcomed her affectionately, as he had every day for the past 4 years. The little girl who had bravely walked toward the furious bull with just a flower in her hand had grown into an extraordinary young woman, capable of turning fear into love and pain into healing. And Thunder, the animal who had lost the will to trust humans, had found not just a new owner, but a lifelong partner who taught him that some bonds are stronger than sorrow itself. Together, they proved that sometimes the most unlikely connections can create the most beautiful miracles, and that a simple flower offered with love can change the fate of an entire family. The end of the story. And what about you, dear listener? What did you think of this beautiful story of Emma and Thunder? Tell us in the comments if you also believe in the power of the connection between children and animals. Your opinion means so much to us. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.